So, welcome everyone. I'm Katie. I'm one of the dietitians on staff. Amanda is the other dietitian. She's not here today. But the topic of today is GERD Be Gone. This is weight loss for GERD management for our 9/11 first responders of our program. Please stop me at any time if for some reason you can't see anything or you can't hear me. Sometimes the computer's a little weird. Okay, so what we're going to learn today is nutrition basics for weight loss and healthy lifestyle. Of course, lifestyle modifications to improve GERD symptoms and how to determine your own triggers of GERD. I'm also going to tell you guys how to create healthier alternatives to your favorite not so healthy foods. Someone just tried to join, so I'm going to let them in and then we'll keep going here. Alrighty, so back to this. So what is GERD? GERD is the weakening of the lower esophageal sphincter. So when we have acid reflux, it leads to GERD. And the symptoms, I'm sure, as you all know, heartburn, we can have stomach pain, just a sour stomach. It can lead to sore throat, shortness of breath, regurgitation, difficulty swallowing, or even inflammation of the sinuses. 60 million Americans experience acid reflux, and more than 2,500 of our Long Island WTC members are certified for GERD. And this PowerPoint's a little old. We actually have 3,500. So if you're here today, you're not alone. So when we eat food, it's carried from the mouth to the stomach through the esophagus. Basically, we have our esophagus here, and this area right here is the issue, this lower esophageal sphincter. So this is a place that we're going to discuss. Obviously, with weight gain, especially in our abdomen region, it can cause pressure on this esophagus. So I'm going to help teach you guys how to change your diet for, better eating habits for weight loss that can help you with your GERD. So risk factors, of course, increased pressure on the abdomen, as we just said. Hiatal hernias can also be a big, attributing factor. Certain medications can cause heartburn, but not as many as people think. Smoking cigarettes can be an issue. Food and alcohol, which obviously we're going to discuss today. And of course, your 9/11 exposure, a lot of the toxic inhalants and everything that, you were exposed to down there have led to this chronic issue of lower esophageal acid reflux. So we're going to keep moving. So treatment options, of course, most of us are on medications. With 9/11, program, we cover the medications for you, the antacids, the H2 blockers, and of course the proton pump inhibitors. Proton pump inhibitors are the most common. That's your purple pill, right? Your omeprazole, pantoprazole. So those are going to be the most common because they're the most potent. Some can get surgery for the GERD. It's not as common. And then, of course, the best treatment option, which we want to focus on today, is diet and lifestyle. Now, there are some contraindications for the long-term use of proton pump inhibitors. So as a dietitian, I try and get my patients to wean off of their GERD medications. It's really difficult, but it's not something that you want to be on forever if you don't have to be. Long-term use can be linked to, decreased absorption of certain vitamins, especially vitamin B12, magnesium, calcium, and iron. You can talk to your doctor about alternative options and supplements. So instead of being on that PPI, that antoprazole, omeprazole, you can try to go on famotidine or a Pepcid or something that's not going to be as intense, that doesn't lead to these long-term issues. If you're someone who also has Barrett's esophagus, it's likely that you're going to have to be on this PPI forever. So supplementing with a multivitamin or a B vitamin complex is a good idea. And if anyone has specific questions about that in pertain to them, definitely send me a message after today and I can work with you one-on-one to discuss this further. So diet and lifestyle, of course, weight loss is going to be key. Some people have GERD without weight issues, but usually if your BMI is above 27, which is your height to weight ratio, that can, mean that your weight is attributing to your GERD. So we do want to focus on smaller portions and more frequent meals. Assessing your hunger levels at the time of your meal is going to be really important. And we're going to get into that in a future slide. Sleeping on your left side can sometimes be helpful, as well as aiming to eat 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. I think that eating 3 hours before bedtime is best. If 2 is what you can do, that's fine. But somebody else joined the meeting. One moment. I'm just going to let them in. Oh, never mind. We're good. I'm going to keep going. Okay. Oh, sorry. Hang on. We got people waiting in the lobby. One moment. Participants. I thought someone was in the lobby. Let me see.
Katie, I'm admitting them.
Oh, you are? Oh, thanks, Donna. Okay.
Oh, all right. Donna, thank you. I didn't know you were there. I just requested control. Oh.
Okay, we're going to keep going. Can you guys see my screen, Donna and Amanda?
It's beautiful.
Okay. All right. So you guys can let them in. Okay. Sorry for our participants. And if you can just mute them as well. Thank you. Okay, so back to the sleep. I did put a link here for the best wedge pillows. Wedge pillows can be really helpful for people if you really are struggling with the nighttime regurgitation. But I think avoiding if you really struggle at night, 3 hours before bed is going to be your window, not 2. And you want to avoid tight clothing. So if your clothing is fitting you really tight around your waistline, that can be leading to that lower esophageal sphincter pressure. Your stress levels can also lead to acid reflux because our gut is our second brain. So if we're stressed out, I know it can cause more of an upset stomach, but it can also sometimes lead to an increase in acid production. And then we're going to go into triggers next, which is really the real key to all of this. So knowing what your triggers are. I get this question a lot with apple cider vinegar, so I just wanted to kind of address this today. So there's no evidence to support that apple cider vinegar can help with weight loss, but there is some anecdotal evidence to say that it can help with GERD in a natural way. If you've been on a PPI for a long time, you're at risk of actually a low acid production. So it's almost the opposite of what you would think. So sometimes people will take acid reflux with meals to help them digest the food and actually stop the production of acid in the stomach because it's a natural acid. However, if you want to do this, definitely do so with caution. Don't just be taking shots of apple cider vinegar. Have it in very small amounts. I'm talking like 1 to 2 teaspoons diluted in 8 ounces of water, preferably like before or after your meal. So you could try it before, try it after, see what works for you. Oh, Amanda, can you mute them? Thank you. Rinse your teeth after drinking the apple cider vinegar as well to avoid enamel erosion. But overall, as a dietitian, I'm all about more holistic approaches to things, but do so with caution and don't take apple cider vinegar straight up because the acidity is. Sorry, guys. Can you hear me?
You're all good right now. I got you. I can hear you.
There's so many tech issues today. I'm so sorry, everyone. All right, back to the nutrition and GERD stoplight, right? That's where we're at.
Absolutely, the start of the slide.
All right, wonderful. So the stoplight, this is for managing your weight as well as your GERD, because we created this stoplight to tell you that the foods in the green are going to be ones that are good for weight management, as well as mostly not going to be an issue for GERD. They're mostly safe, meaning that most people who have acid reflux are not triggered by these foods. So up to 2 to 3 servings of fruit per day of any low acid fruit. The most common ones are going to be apples, melon, and bananas. Do keep in mind that half a banana is a serving size. So if you're having a full banana, that's 1 serving of fruit. That would lead you to having 1 more serving of fruit per day. So you could have an apple and a banana, but you wouldn't want to have anything more than that, just for the sugar. Next up is protein. So we do want to focus on lean proteins. That's beans, egg whites, chicken, turkey, fish. Some people dabble in tofu and tempeh. That's a soy protein. But in the yellow, you will see that there's protein in the form of whole eggs, lean beef, cheese, lean pork, and veal. Those are all fine choices as well. You really just want to watch out for the higher fat meats, which we'll get to in a second. Healthy fats are going to be something that you do still want to consume in moderation in terms of portion because they do still attribute to weight gain. However, the healthiest fats are going to be heart healthy fats: almonds, walnuts, olive oil, canola oil, and avocado. About half an avocado to a fourth of an avocado is this serving. And for those who attended today, if we're able to take attendance, I will be sending you this information separately so that you can have it at home. But definitely feel free to message us if you would like a little bit more guidance on portions that are right for you, because everyone's different. You do want to watch out for milk and yogurt in terms of the fat content. So non-fat Greek yogurt, skim milk, and an unsweetened plant milk like oat milk or almond milk or soy milk are the best choices instead of a whole milk for weight loss. Grains and starches, you do want to shoot for more of a higher fiber grain or starch. So whole grains like brown rice or whole wheat pasta, peas, beans, and potatoes with skin are all starchy vegetables. And then in terms of vegetables, you can eat any non-starchy vegetable that does not trigger your symptoms. Broccoli, spinach, carrots, celery, cucumbers, anything you like. There's no limit to your non-starchy vegetables. When we move into the fruit category in the moderation, some people are triggered by orange juice or grapefruit juice, pineapple juice, more acidic fruits. And it is best to avoid fruit juice for weight loss because what it does is it removes the fiber and it's just the sugar. So it's best to eat your fruit instead of drinking your fruit, especially if you have GERD. So first thing in the morning, don't wake up and drink a glass of orange juice. It's not going to help you at all. We already went over protein. You do want to still be mindful of your fats, like the vegetable oils and salad dressings. It is best to make your own salad dressing with olive oil. If you're triggered by balsamic, then just use a tiny pinch or maybe a little lemon juice instead. Milk and yogurt we already went over. Of course, 1 to 2% milk fat is going to be a little bit more fatty than skim, but if you don't like skim milk, that's fine. And then the vegetables that can sometimes be a trigger are tomato sauce. Obviously, we're a lot of Italians here, so tomato sauce, some canned diced tomatoes, those things can also be a trigger. So usually do so, in moderation. And then in the red is going to be the avoid. You need to avoid these foods because they're not only going to trigger your GERD, but they're also going to lead to weight gain because of either the high sugar or the high fat in the foods. So canned fruit, fruit juice, like I said, dried fruits really aren't doing you any favors either because they don't have any fiber. Obviously, hot dogs and sausage, liverwurst, salami, all of our favorite meats are not going to be advisable. So trying to think more lean chicken, lean turkey, seafood, trying them broiled or baked or grilled versus fried. So if you're a chicken cutlet family like me, we have to do more baking and grilling versus the breaded and fried. You want to watch out for ice cream. Sometimes that can be a trigger as well because of the fat in it. And French fries, most things that you already know that you need to be avoiding. And avoid any like tempura fried vegetables. Now, at the very bottom, you should see other foods to limit or avoid. Alcohol is a major, major trigger of GERD, especially carbonated alcohol like beer. So if you're somebody that the alcohol is triggering your GERD, it's really something that you want to watch out for. Alcohol is also 7 calories per gram with no nutritional value. So it's really not doing you any favors in the weight department either. So just be mindful of your intake, and what triggers one person might not trigger another, like red wine or beer might not bother you, but vodka does. So just be mindful. Spicy foods, of course, we want to limit. Salty foods, and I will be giving you guys ways to season your foods that avoid the spice and the salt. So you're not left with just bland food. We do want our food to be flavorful, especially if we're trying to eat healthier. Flavoring our foods with mint and basil. Well, we'll get to mint in a second, but basil, parsley, oregano, those will be okay. Peppermint and spearmint can lower the strength of the esophageal sphincter. So if you're someone who chews gum a lot, you might want to watch out for peppermint or spearmint flavored gum because that can be, decreasing the strength and weakening that sphincter, causing the acid to come up from your stomach. And then other people may be triggered by caffeine and chocolate. So a chocolate bar has both, but coffee can also be a major trigger. Coffee is a lifeline for a lot of us. So try to have coffee on not an empty stomach. Have something in your stomach, even if it's just a piece of toast, just something to help with that straight acid to the esophagus.
On the topic of coffee, sorry, Katie, just one moment. This is just something I see all the time in my nutritional practice is sometimes we get caught in the flow of the day and we have our big Yeti thermos or whatnot with us, and we treat that like almost like a water bottle and sip that all throughout the day. So if you find that you fall into that category, simply like trying to have 8 fluid ounces of coffee, being done and over with it in the morning, and then carrying water with you throughout the day can do a lot of good for acid reflux.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Like instead of nursing your coffee all day, drink your coffee with your breakfast and then have water the rest of the day instead as your beverage of choice. Or a flavored seltzer if the carbonation doesn't bother you. Great tip. All right. So I think we're good on this slide here. So if you're someone who's like, I'm not sure which of these foods are bothering me, we suggest doing a trigger journal where you write down what you eat and assess if you're having triggers. If we're able to send out information after this, we have a trigger journal template that I can send to you where it just says like the time of the day and then symptoms. So if you track for about 3 days, you can see, oh, like this is giving me a problem. And it tends to be red onions in my salad. It's probably a trigger. So we don't have the exact answers. This is just a guideline. So we do recommend trigger journals. However, other diet and lifestyle factors that we tend to see very commonly are eating too quickly. How many of us are on our lunch break and we don't have time, so we wolf down our lunch, and then what happens? We get the acid reflux later on in the afternoon. We're not chewing our food well enough at that point. So we really do encourage being very mindful when you're eating, trying to eat very well, like slowly, and chew your food very well. If your partner eats slower than you, try and match their pace. If you're almost done dinner and your wife is still halfway through, take a pause, and that can also help with portion control, which we're going to get into in a moment. So by chewing the food really well, it can decrease the risk of swallowing air, which is also a cause of acid reflux. Of course, we talked about eating and lying down, eating too late at night, and just, again, wearing the too tight of clothing. A gun holster around your midline can also be an issue. A lot of our, members are police officers, so this can sometimes be an issue. So we like to throw that in there. So let's talk healthy meals, because you're saying, all right, well, this is what I can't eat. So what can I eat? So you do want to always try and have some protein. So we can see this breakfast options here, like oatmeal with some berries or fresh fruit and some walnuts. The walnuts will provide a healthy fat that'll keep you fuller longer. An egg white omelet with vegetables and a slice of toast is a great option. If peanut butter doesn't cause GERD for you, peanut butter is an excellent breakfast choice with some toast or whole wheat English muffin and half a banana. We've got some lunch here. Of course, everyone knows a spinach salad with grilled chicken would be good. But you can even do a wrap with turkey instead of a salami or a fried chicken cutlet, try and keep it more lean. And then the mustard and the pickles have a nice acidity, but not too much that it shouldn't cause GERD. And then dinner, it is good to have a variety of protein. So grilling your salmon or having a broiled fish instead of a fried is a good idea. Baked sweet potato is really good for you, and asparagus has good fiber in it. Turkey burgers instead of lean beef burgers is a fine choice as well if you're trying to cut back on your red meat intake. You can make carrot fries instead of potato fries for weight loss purposes. And then whole wheat pasta with chicken meatballs and pesto. So instead of the tomato sauce, maybe try pesto. Some people are triggered by garlic, so just be mindful of how much garlic you're putting into your pesto. But you can see here for easy meal prep, you always just want to think of picking a protein, picking a carb, throwing in some veggies, and adding a little bit of fat for some flavor, but not a lot. You can always cook in bulk and then take it with you. So a GERD-friendly diet, this is basically the foods in the green that we mentioned before. I just kind of broke them down even further. So celery, fennel, mushrooms, broccoli, cabbage, all the foods in this green vegetable category are pretty non-triggering, and they're actually really helpful for weight loss. They contain phytochemicals, which can help, speed up your metabolism because of the fiber in them. Fruit, like we said, you just want to watch out for like oranges or if that's a trigger for you. Starchy vegetables, consuming in moderation. Protein here. Cheese does get a bad rap. We recommend about an ounce of cheese per day as a limit. So if you had cheese in your eggs in the morning, don't have cheese, pizza for dinner. Try and switch it up. Milk and dairy, we already went over. Avocados. And then at the very bottom, there's miscellaneous. This is more so for flavoring your foods. So citrus zest. So if you don't want to do lemon juice or lime juice because it gives you that too much acidity, you can just zest the fruit where you just take a little microplane or a cheese grater and you just zest the outside of the lemon. Fish sauce or soy sauce can be okay. Ginger is very good for flavoring, especially if you're doing a stir fry rather than adding a lot of salt. Just add some ginger. All spices besides chili and mint are okay. So like I said, basil, parsley, oregano, usually garlic powder is fine. Honey, maple syrup, and chicken broth can also all flavor your foods. So other GERD-friendly substitutions, like I said, instead of doing barbecue sauce, sometimes that can be a trigger. You can make your own. Instead of buying broth, you can make your own. Cayenne pepper, if you're really into the spice. Try cumin cumin, Cumin. That actually has a really nice taco seasoning flavor without all of the spice that can trigger your GERD. It doesn't have any pepper in it. So instead of chili powder, trying to do cumin or coriander. And then the rest of these, you guys can take a peek. But overall, it's really just about removing the things that are going to be GERD triggering as well as weight, attributing. Instead of butter, cook with extra virgin olive oil. Has a lot more health benefits than the butter. And making your own salad dressing instead of a heavy blue cheese. Try a Bolthouse Farms brand. So hopefully we're able to send you guys some stuff after the session today. So you're saying, all right, I got the food down, but I can't control my portions. We need to walk this through. I know we're supposed to go till 2:30, so I'm gonna go quick. But portion control tips. The first thing is don't let yourself get hangry. How many of us eat breakfast and then we don't eat anything all day? And then by the time we sit down to dinner, we're starving. And it's really hard to control your portions that way. So we do recommend eating small, frequent meals or at least having a mid-afternoon snack before mealtime so that you aren't so hungry by the time you get to your meal. It's going to allow you to get to step 2, which is to slow down. It does take the stomach about 15 to 20 minutes to get the message from our brain that we're full. We call it the LIE at rush hour. It's slow, so we need to eat slower because it's going to help you portion control, and it's also going to help that digestion. Once we've reached the point of no return, that Thanksgiving full, it's over. So try to slow down and assess your fullness as you go. You want to be about 80% to being overly full. If you stop around 80% being full, you're still satisfied, but you're not overly full to the point where you're feeling sick or that acid reflux is coming up. You want to balance your plate. We're going to go into that in the next slide, but you just want to, have a good combo of lean protein, complex carb, and a non-starchy vegetable, a little bit of fat. This can help you feel full. Using a smaller plate is also a really good idea. If you're a family that uses huge plates, it's not good. So try to buy small plates, and that can also help you set up for success. So if your family eats family style, so you put all the food on the table, it can lead to overeating because you're going to start grazing on that extra chicken cutlet that's just sitting there, or that extra helping of mashed potatoes, versus leave everything on the counter or on the stovetop, make your plate, try and balance it out in portions, and then walk over to the table. If you are still hungry, wait that 15 minutes. And if you still really want food, absolutely go get it. You might have to heat it up because it might be cold by that point. But having it within a reaching distance is not good for weight loss. Make yourself physically go get up. The same thing happens with snacks. Do not eat directly from the bag or the box or the container. Put it in a bowl, walk away from the kitchen, because it's going to force you to at least have to stop and go get more versus the whole bag. So that same concept goes for family style eating. And then lastly, we do always want to say it is okay to eat. And if you accidentally overeat, that's okay. Learn from it. But by granting yourself permission to eat, it's going to help you with portions overall in the long term. Because you know, if you stop eating and you're still hungry, you know you can always eat more later. And you might not end up wanting to. You might forget. You go to bed. It's fine. Balancing your plate. This is just a visual. You want to have about half your plate of the salad or non-starchy vegetables, a quarter of your plate carb or starch, and then a quarter of the plate a lean protein. And these are some meal prep ideas that you could do. This is salmon with a salad, berries, and hard-boiled eggs. This is some cucumber, strawberries with shrimp salad and guacamole. Again, starts with small changes. So instead of doing the chicken salad, have the grilled chicken. You know, instead of having cheese on your sandwiches, try lettuce and tomatoes. Ranch dressing, we can switch to a balsamic as long as it's not a trigger. Trying to switch out the dried fruit for fresh fruit. Even doing thick crust to a thin crust. It does all make a difference. The right side is healthy swaps at convenience stores. So a Snickers bar instead, doing a Kind bar. A blueberry muffin, try a blueberry yogurt. It's not the same, but it's going to help you with weight loss. Obviously, don't forget about your exercise. The hardest part is getting started. We do always encourage finding something that you know you can keep consistent with and you enjoy. Some people don't enjoy any form of exercise, so you just have to treat it like a doctor's appointment. Just schedule it in, get it done, even if it's just 30 minutes. It's better than nothing. But we always set realistic goals with our patients. So an example is I'm going to walk for 30 minutes, 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, before dinner. Just a quick note with the exercise timing, if you have acid reflux, sometimes it's best to exercise on an empty stomach first thing in the morning if eating and then working out gives you an issue. I know myself and Amanda both have GERD and it's an issue for us. So just throwing it out there. But that is really it. I am going to open the floor to questions if anybody has any. And I want to thank everybody for coming today. We had a great attendance.